All right, well, good evening, everybody. My name is Mark Krebs. I'm a silver consultant here with Archer Evolution Travel. I've been with the company for 3 months now, but I've been a travel agent for 6 years. This training is going to be on credit card authorization forms. Now, I know that in your trainings in the past, you're always told to get a credit card authorization form, but I've seen some questions from people about whether or not you need them for certain bookings, such as a less than 21-day booking with Expedia, for example. Well, the answer to that is absolutely yes. You want to get a credit card authorization form to protect yourself and the company from fraud, and your client for that matter. So you definitely want to get a copy of this credit card authorization form for every single booking that you do, no matter how big or small it is. Unless you're obviously booking your own travel, then you don't need your own credit card authorization form. So, for example, I booked a couple of rooms this weekend out in the Black Hills in South Dakota. And so I didn't need to do a booking authorization form or a credit card authorization form because it was my card, my booking. So that's the only exception to this rule. Anything that you're dealing with a client, you do need to get a credit card authorization form. Now, there are a couple of different ways that you can do this. Archer provides us with a really good one, but I've created a couple of my own that can be used for single bookings and multiple bookings within the same provider. So the same company that you're using. I came up with this idea because I have a client that we're using Expedia for all of his bookings, but I'm booking multiple dates for him, and I wanted to be able to give him one streamlined form rather than having to fill out 10 different credit card authorization forms for one vendor. So I came up with this new form where you can actually put all your confirmation numbers, all your departure dates, all your return dates on it. So, and that's what's up on the screen right now. I just basically took this from what Archer provides us already and modified it to using my own system. So as you can see, you would put your client's name right here, your company name or your name here. So then the client's name, hereby authorized 72 and Sunny Travel, which is my company, to process my credit card information provided for the reservation details below. You put the guest name here, the trip type. So in my case, it was car rentals. So I just put that here. The supplier name, I don't fill that out until after I get the confirmation numbers from the supplier. That way the client cannot go back and cancel on me and book direct with on their own. So that's something that you want to be mindful of. You don't want to give up your supplier's name because some of the suppliers like Expedia can be booked directly by the consumer. You've got a space for your confirmation number or numbers, the departure date or dates, return date or dates. And this is good information for you to have as well, so that you can take a look back and see what your client is actually booking, where they're going, when they're coming back, or when they're going and when they're coming back. The contact name, 9 times out of 10, it's going to be your client. The name on the credit card, the last 4 digits of the credit card number. Now, this is all information that your client is going to fill out. You must put this little disclaimer in there saying, to protect your confidential information, do not provide the full credit card number in this form. You will be contacted by your travel agent to provide your full credit card number and CVV number. A copy of the driver's license is needed along with this form. That is a requirement from Archer. We do have to have that disclaimer in there. You always want to ask your client for a copy of their credit card, the front and back of their card, and their driver's license to protect them against any fraud going on to their account. So again, you always ask for a copy of the credit card, no matter how big or small the booking is. And no matter how many times you book that client, you get a new credit card copy for each transaction you do. So right down here, you put the total charge going onto the card, the expiration date. Now you can fill in this total charge here for your client. The client can fill out the expiration date using the fill-in sign method on Adobe Acrobat, or if you're sending it in a Word document, they can fill it out there too. The client will fill out the billing address, city, state, zip, their daytime phone number, email address, and then you need to get a physical signature from them along with the date. You have to have this statement in here, this form provided to you by an independent travel agent affiliate of Archer Travel. That is stating that you are an independent contractor. You are not working for Archer Travel as an employee of Archer. You are an independent contractor and have your own business. And then you must have the seller of travel numbers for California and Florida down here. And I need to find out if Montana and Hawaii are now required on this form as well. I've got to reach out to Archer, but I would put those on there as well, just like they say we have to with our new business cards as well. So this is for a single booking. You can use this particular form for a single booking with one confirmation number or multiple bookings within the same vendor, as I have done, and just put the multiple confirmation numbers right here and then the departure and return dates. Now, you may have a client that wants to put their trip on payments, say for a Carnival cruise. Courtney Palladino and I have come up with a new form that I will put into the team chat along with this recording that gives you the option to have one credit card authorization form, but you're able to record multiple payments on it. So again, this is one that Archer has come up with that I modified to make it a little bit easier. So everything appears the same. The client's name, hereby authorize your name or your company's name to process the credit card information provided for the reservation details listed below. So all of this is the same in here. Now down to the bottom, we put the Archer Travel Group logo, and then right down here, spaces for you to put the payment arrangement amounts. So say the deposit is $250 on that Carnival cruise. You would put that amount right here. The client would initial and put the payment date here. Then when it's time to make their first payment, same thing, you put the payment amount right here. Send this back to your client. They'll initial and put the payment date there once you run the card. And it goes up to 10 different payment amounts on that particular booking. Does that make sense to everyone?
So this is all just for the same booking?
Correct. This would be for a single booking.
And so every single time you need to send it back to the client for them to initial, and then they send it back to you for every single payment. Okay.
Exactly. That is to protect yourself and the client, and so that they can also see a running total of how much they've paid so far for that particular trip. It's really helpful with cruises. It's really helpful if you're booking like FunJet and Vax, where you can put down a deposit and say the final payment is not due until 90 or 180 days prior to their vacation date. The client can pay without having to use that affinity or whatever payment program Vax is using right now. If they're not financing their trip, but they want to make payments on it directly to you, then this is the form that you would use.
Do we have like a system to remind us when the payments are coming, or we just make up our own system? Or do you have, what is your method of make?
My method is that I put it into a calendar in Outlook, which is what I use for my email. And I say payment due for my client's name, and then amount is X dollar amount for that client on this particular date. And then I write it in a planner as well that I look at every single day that I carry with me all the time, so that I
Okay.
know when a client is due to pay more on their trip.
And these
Okay.
payments come directly to us?
Correct. The payments come directly to you, and then you go into the vendor that they use. So if it was for Carnival, you'd go into Carnival, put in your booking number, and then you would make the payment on that booking for the client.
So if they're paying me on my Square, for instance, and I'm using my Square card, or I'm using their card.
Right. You never want to use your own card. You always want to use the client's card.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
but I'm misunderstanding now. This is only if the vendor allows payment plans, right?
As long as your deposit is not showing a full amount due, then you can use this.
Oh, okay, okay. Just as long as all the payments are in by the final due date. Okay, that makes sense.
Exactly.
Okay. And then I still have a question about this form right here. If this
Sure.
form is going back and forth, is that credit card number on this form?
No.
Okay.
The last 4 digits of the card number, you keep the physical credit card number secured in a spot. You have to hold on to that for 6 months from the return date of the traveler. That is Archer protocol.
Okay. But then you said that we need a copy of the front and the back of the credit card.
You only would need to get one copy and attach it to the back of this form. Just staple it to the back of this form and make sure that it is the customer, your client wants to use that same card for all of the payments. If they want to give you a different card, then you have to get a new copy of that different card and attach it.
Okay. I guess I'm just getting a little confused, because if they're sending this picture over the, email in the picture, isn't that the same thing as if they actually was to put the card number and send an email? Do you see what I'm saying?
Right. I see what you're saying. And because we're not putting the full card number on this form, it's still secure. So what my client did was he texted me a picture of his card.
Okay.
And
okay.
I printed out a copy of it.
That's what I was trying to get at. Thank you.
Yeah,
okay.
They can text it or email it to you, or if you have access to a fax, they can make a photocopy of it and fax it to you as well.
Okay.
And you just have to keep it for 6 months from the return date. And then you shred the credit card information and the credit card authorization form.
Okay.
But we send them the original at first, keep it on file via email to Archer, or?
Yes, you can send it to your client via email.
No, I meant Archer. We got to send credit card authorization, or it's already in our back office.
No, you don't have to. The only time you send Archer the credit card authorization form is if it's a less than 21-day booking.
That's right. Okay.
Yep, and then they will take care of the payment, and then they will turn the booking back over to you once they've determined that it's not a fraudulent booking. So then your client would be dealing with you from there on out. Any other questions about this form? Or about anything I've gone over?
Oh, I don't know if you answered this. I kind of just got here, so forgive me if you did. So I keep hearing different answers about how it's being sent, where I'm kind of more of the Adobe Sign type of person. Is that okay?
Yeah, you can do that. Ron Archer would prefer a physical signature, but my clients have used Adobe Fill and Sign, and that works just as well.
And then also, how does this tie into daily commissions? Do we attach our receipts, or is that separate?
So what I do for daily commissions, and I just cashed one out for my client that I'm working with now. What I do is I do a separate credit card authorization for that amount.
Mm-hmm.
And I put my name as the company name. And then guest name and then supplier name is my company name. And then trip type, I just put service fee or
Mhm.
however you're charging it. And then NA for the confirmation number, because there's not going to be a confirmation number on daily commission. And then you can run it through Stripe, Square, however you're processing your daily commissions.
Okay, but I keep it together.
Keep it together.
I mean,
Absolutely.
that's for me. It's not like I have to keep it for 6 months. That was mine. That's for me.
Yeah, you do still need to keep it you do still need to keep the daily commission ones for 6 months, just in case there's a chargeback or a fraudulent claim
Okay.
on the card. That way you have authorization showing that the client did approve this amount, and make sure that you're telling them the amount that they did approve that amount to be charged to their card for this service fee, because it's always going to be a separate charge for the service fee.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Have you ever gotten any pushback from a client about sending a picture of their card over a platform?
I have not, and most companies and most clients will understand why. I just explain to my clients right up front that we need a copy of the card to protect them from any fraudulent charges that may come up if somebody was to get a hold of their card and they didn't get it canceled in time and somebody made additional charges on it somewhere. That way we have a copy of the card that we can show the credit card company stating that we had authorization to charge this particular card X amount of dollars. So I've never had any pushback from my clients.
Understood. Thank you.
Anybody else?
So we need a copy of both the credit card and the driver's license.
Both the credit card and the driver's license, absolutely.
Okay.
And it's the driver's license of the card holder. That's very important. So if somebody else, say a client's parents are paying for the card, paying for the trip, you need a copy of that person's driver's license that matches the name on the credit card.
So that can be different than the contact name.
Correct.
Okay.
And what if there's multiple people paying? Do you need each person's driver's license or just the one?
If there are multiple people paying, then you're going to need multiple credit card authorization forms. And so you're going to need everybody's credit card and driver's license. Anything else, guys?
Where did you say we would find this form?
You can use the form that's in your back office.
Okay.
Also, I'm going to put this into the Team Sunset chat later on tonight, along with the recording of this training.
So what if you're not Team Sunset?
I will make sure that my Platinum gets it into the other team chats.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, no problem. And you can create your own credit card authorization form. I'm just using mine that I created as an example. So you are perfectly able to create your own credit card authorization. But again, you have to have this information here listed on the form, along with this form is provided to you by an independent travel agent affiliate of Archer Travel. That is required.
Okay, or I could just take the one that's provided and just modify it
Exactly.
however I wanted to. Okay.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? All right, I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording here.